Sell in May and go away is an age-old saying in investing. And given Bitcoin's shaky April performance, we need to look at the possibility of a lackluster summer for BTC. Today, we're going to be looking at whether you should sell in May or now and go away. And just for a little bit of background on what this actually means, is if we go to here, we can see that in investing, there has been this seasonal theory that throughout the summer months, historically stocks, but now this can be applied to Bitcoin, usually underperform throughout the summer months. So typically the advice is to sell in May and buy back in November. So you skip those 6 summer months. And if we go down here, we can see even in this Investopedia article, this has been pretty much disproven throughout US equities over the past decade in the S&P 500. We can see the Wall Street Journal are putting out articles basically putting this theory to bed. However, on social media, I am seeing a lot of accounts still kind of pushing this thesis that you should sell in May and go away. And of course, there is a 50% chance that maybe they are right and we underperform what we will for the next 6 months. But really, if we look at the data, we can see that this isn't really the case. If we look over the past 5 years in the Bitcoin price action, we can see that these summer months are May, June, July, August, September, and October. That throughout the last 5 years, only one of these summers has had negative returns for BTC. And this was 2022 when the entire year had negative returns for BTC. So we couldn't necessarily say that just these summer months were to blame for this because the rest of the months weren't great either. And we can also say that over the past 5 years, the summer months have returned on average each month 4.07%. So definitely not bad returns there either. And historically, throughout all of Bitcoin's price history, these summer months have returned 9.23%. So again, definitely not too bad. I think a lot of this may come from potentially some outside influences on the Bitcoin price action. If we look at the last few halving events here, we can see that obviously the most recent one occurred in April, just prior to May. We can see that the one previously occurred in May, and the one before that occurred in June. So we can see that these usually occur at a pretty similar time. And usually after these halving events, we maybe get prior to the halving, a buy the rumor, and then post-halving, sell the news, or at least a few months following that of maybe some consolidation, choppy price action, as miners maybe adjust to the new decreased earnings from block rewards. And potentially there is some seasonal bias that maybe people aren't in front of the screens all day, maybe enjoying some sunshine if you have sunshine where you live, not here in England. So I think if we look at what we can expect over the coming months, historically we don't necessarily see these summer months underperforming just because they are summer months. We usually see these underperforming in negative price action years. And usually in positive price action years, we don't usually see this underperformance, at least not to a noticeable extent. Usually there might be a couple percentage difference, but again, this might be influenced by other factors like the Bitcoin halving event. As well, if we go to the macro suite here, we can also see that global liquidity, again, moves in cyclical cycles. We can see that, again, not just in the US, but this is on a global scale, but these usually tend to massively increase in the latter stages of the year and massively decrease again throughout the summer months. So this isn't just a Bitcoin phenomenon. This is potentially just due to the 4-year liquidity cycle we see across pretty much all asset classes that maybe intentionally, maybe coincidentally, typically aligns with Q4, Q3, Q1 potentially having much more bullish price action performance. But the advice that you should sell in May and go away really doesn't hold much credence, and to be honest would probably negatively impact your portfolio. Well, it definitely would have negatively impacted your portfolio over the past 5, 10, however many years in Bitcoin's history by just selling and coming back when you could have already experienced positive price action for a majority of the time. Also, if you haven't already, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to ensure you're receiving all of our content as soon as it's released. And make sure to check out all the resources we've discussed today, as well as the many more that are all available on lookintobitcoin.com, your #1 source for Bitcoin information. So just to summarize, the age-old saying of sell in May and go away derives from the theory of seasonal underperformance during the 6 summer months. However, over the past 5 years, only 2022 had negative returns from May to October 31st through Bitcoin, and that was also the only year with negative returns throughout the entire year, so it wasn't necessarily a summer underperformance to blame. And over the past 5 years, the summer months have had an average return of 4.07%, and over Bitcoin's entire history, it's had 9.23% monthly returns on average. Compare that to the average yearly returns of BTC, which is 13.9%. There may be a little bit of seasonal underperformance, but this is likely influenced by other factors, like we could see potentially with the halving event, like traditional cycles that we see over a 4-year basis. So really, it's probably not worth risking selling in May and going away just due to some potential coincidences that have happened over the past few years and external factors that can't really be predicted. If you like this video, then please visit lookintobitcoin.com, where you can also consider becoming a site subscriber to gain access to professional resolution charts, advanced macro and portfolio data tools, in-depth crypto industry reports, live and personalized indicator alerts, private trading view scripts, and more, all for a fraction of the standard industry price. And let me know what your thoughts are on potentially selling in May and going away. I actually did this video last year. I probably could have used the exact same video because all the information was still very relevant. And May 2023 to October 2023 actually had positive returns. So again, good job you didn't sell in May. Hopefully, good job you didn't sell in May and going away last year. And hopefully you take this advice on board and maybe just ignore the potential biases, theses, seasonal analysis you see on social media, and just trust the data, trust the facts. And of course, if you don't agree with me, let me know. I'll reply to them anyway. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.